Damned, so how'd it go last night, partner? Harold Diaz wanted to know. How did what go? Kesha Moore shot back, not quite sure of what he was talking about. Kesha, the freaking play. Didn't you take the kids out yesterday? How do you expect me to know what you are referring to when you just come out with questions like, how'd it go last night, partner? How the hell am I supposed to know what you are asking me, huh? Christ. Make a left on 39th, take 8th Avenue up. Kesha sat quietly for a block or so, then said, the play was fine. I mean, I didn't like the fact that my daughter couldn't participate, but other than that it was nice, I guess. Harold could always tell when something was bothering his partners, even his new ones. Being on the force 25 years had its advantages, and knowing when one of his partners was troubled or uneasy about something was one of them. What's eating you, Moore? I know we've only been working together for 2 months, but I know when something's bothering someone I'm working with. You've been like this all week, now spill it. Kesha glanced down at the dash clock, then made a left on 45th Street and double-parked on 9th Avenue. I'm going to tell you something, but this stays between us, got it? She said. She had a seriousness in her eyes, and Harold recognized it and nodded his affirmation. Where are we going? He asked, momentarily changing the subject. It's lunchtime, my treat today, come on. The two entered the Casina restaurant, a Tuscan-style eatery in the heart of Hell's Kitchen. The place was gorgeous inside, with its exposed, brick walls and the communal farmhouse-style tables that spelled nothing under the word elegant. There was a heavy aroma of wine and food in the air, all of which seemed to be psychologically making them both hungrier. You can afford this place on your salary. Diaz pried. Kesha said nothing, just led the way to an empty table at the far end of the restaurant and took a seat. A waiter followed and asked if they were ready to order. In a minute, Kesha told him. So what gives, what's on your mind, Moore? She looked around the restaurant, then leaned forward. I saw Vigo last week. You what? Diaz exclaimed. For Christ's sake, why didn't you tell me? Just listen, man. I'm scared, Harold. He attacked me, looked like he was trying to get into my house, my kids. What? Why? How? This case, I guess. But that's not all. He could have killed me right there, but he didn't. I mean, he grabbed me and I couldn't move a single muscle in my body. I was helpless. He started chanting some crazy shit, then that fucker bit me. Kesha loosened the top button of her shirt, then wiped away the makeup she had used to match her skin color, revealing 2 small puncture wounds on her neck. What in God's name did he do that? What kind of teeth? Are you sure it was him? Diaz fumed. Yes, it was him. He told me who he was. And I'm sure he bit me and I haven't been right since. I keep having these headaches. My eyes hurt. My neck, my body. Something's wrong. A tear rolled down Kesha's left cheek and she grabbed Diaz's hand, not knowing what to do. Did you go see a doctor? My God, let me see that wound. Doc insists an animal did this, not a person. Listen, I capped 7 in him at point blank. He took everyone as if they were simply BB gun pellets. He told me I'll leave him alone one way or the other. Carajo, man. I'm not arresting this son of a bitch, I'm putting a bullet in his skull. Moore, you should have said something to me earlier. That lunatic bastard could have killed you, could come back. Where are the kids? They're with their father in Troy, New York. They're safe. Did you even report having discharged your weapon? You know how the chief is about that sort of thing. No, I have not mentioned this to anyone yet except you. Harold pulled at his mustache and twisted the ends. Christ, Kesha, the chief's going to have your balls in a sling for this. I don't have balls, she half-joked, trying her best not to look scared. However, though she half-joked, she was terrified. Vigo, the only name the police have on him, is a crazed serial killer who prefers to mangle and tear his victims to pieces while they are still alive, then eat portions of them, then mock the police by leaving his name and fingerprints smeared all over the walls of the crime scene. As far as Kesha knows, no one has seen this Vigo character and lived to tell about it, save for her. And knowing that he'd had her life in the palm of his hands, and could strike again at any given time, made her feel all the more horrified. He couldn't have been human, she told herself. His strength, his eyes, his teeth, they were not normal. The waiter returned, breaking her from her thoughts, to see if they were ready to order. Kesha said, I'll have the smoked salmon and cream cheese and a glass of wine. Harold said, and I'll have the barbecued veal ribs and a salad with some of that Italian dressing, please. Shortly after their lunch, Kesha Moore and Harold Diaz were called to a new homicide scene, this time down in the financial district. What have we got? Moore asked, entering an apartment on the 3rd floor. They were at Fulton Street between Broadway Avenue and Nassau Street, at an apartment just above a Chinese stationery shop. This one's almost the same as the last and priors. Sept. Look at this, a uniformed cop said, leading them to a blood-stained room and a mangled corpse. Kesha covered her mouth. As she viewed the body, all of her professionalism flew right out the window. This particular victim was worse than the others. It was just too much for her, too much blood, too much carnage. And the body was so mangled, the only way any of them could tell it was a female was by the small feet and the fingernail polish on the only remaining finger on the victim's left hand. But the victim was more than met the eye, and Kesha knew just by looking that the victim wasn't a female at all, but a man, a young man, a homosexual. If I didn't know any better, I'd say those were claw marks, the uniformed officer continued. Kesha shut her eye like a terrified child would, and buried her face in her partner's shoulder. It's not a female, it's a male, she said, her voice muffled in his shirt. How do you know that? Diaz asked, slightly raising her head, puzzled. Of all the years he had in homicide, he'd never come across a crime scene like the one he was viewing now, and it was no way he could tell the difference in gender. The body was just too torn up. Women don't have that, she said, pointing at the underside of the body. No one saw it at first, but then Diaz spotted it, the man's penis among coils of bloodied intestines and organs. Never removing her face from Diaz's shirt, Kesha said, "You have to get everyone out of here, they're stepping on valuable evidence." "All right, everybody out," Diaz ordered. "Dixon, leave the camera and go down to my car and get me another. Do you have a memory chip in this?" "Here," went Officer Dixon, handing him his memory card for the camera. "Okay, I want this entire floor roped off and I want you to go door to door, ask everyone if they'd seen or heard anything last night. This building isn't that big, so someone had to have heard or seen something." When everyone left the room, Diaz continued, "They're gone, partner, open your eyes now." "It's okay. I can't just yet, just hold me a minute. This room looks just like the one from my dreams, all the blood, the body, everything." "It was just a dream, more." "No," she shouted. "It wasn't just a dream. Open the closet over there by the bed, see if his name's painted in blood on the door. Don't let me go, okay? "'Kay, partner, I've got you. Now just move when I move. We're going left, over toward the bed. That's a girl. Now we're going to go right. And stop, Dana. Go stand over at the window, look outside," he told her. She did, and he opened the closet door. And just as she'd predicted, there it was, Vigo's name, sprawled out across the length of the door in blood, a single thumbprint underneath. Harold Diaz paused, wide-mouthed, shock-written plain as yesterday on his face. With a flash, the digital camera stored the images in its memory. And after, the lead homicide detective entered the room with two other men he didn't recognize. The inspector saw that the body lay on the floor, a horrible, mangled thing. The inspector was an Irish man, tall, medium-built, broad-shouldered, appearing to be creeping into his 50s, but was a mere rough 39-year-old. The two others were federal agents. Diaz and Moore could tell just by the way they carried themselves. They could see that the inspector didn't feel comfortable in the midst of them, and for some reason, they had the feeling that they would not either. The shorter of the two agents made slits with his eyes and said, "This looks like a goddamn slaughterhouse, the back of a butcher's shop. And you say this man has killed 7 people in just Lower Manhattan?" "That is correct," Moore started. "And you still can't catch him?" blasted the other agent. "What are you waiting for, him to get tired and turn himself in?" the shorter agent came back. "Look, damn it, my people are doing their best," said the inspector. "You ought to see some of these crime scenes, this guy's a loon. The best you can do?" The shorter agent placed his hand on his forehead and pointed at the corpse with the other. "Try telling that to his family. Try telling that to all the city's taxpayers, the other victims' families." "I got it. Why don't you just go on television and tell the entire country that you are unable to provide them with sufficient protection, or have the adequate manpower and resources to catch this predator?" Everyone stood quiet for a moment as the agent viewed the body. Then the agent continued. "My name is Agent Donovan, and this is my partner, Agent Ludwig." Diaz extended his hand to them both, but Moore declined the greetings. "This is an FBI case now. I want all information on this matter handed over immediately. Am I clear?" "On what grounds are you taking over my investigation?" the inspector asked. "On the grounds that this is no longer just an investigation, it's a top priority apprehension. This maniac has to be stopped. And from what we've been told, he has no intention of stopping anytime soon. We don't like stepping on anybody's toes, but this is getting out of hand. So if you will, leave this crime scene and I'll see you down at the station house later." "I knew this would happen. I saw it coming in my dream," Kesha whispered to Diaz on the way out of the building. Seemingly all channels of the news were outside. As they exited the building, Kesha was suddenly stricken by anxiety at all the noise and shouting of the reporters. Diaz held her head to his shoulder and hurried her into their car and they left. The inspector, however, wasn't so lucky with his escape. The reporters were all over him in a matter of seconds. "Inspector, is it true that Vigo ate parts of another victim up there?" a female reporter asked, nearly shoving her microphone down his throat. "How close are you to catching this animal?" asked a male reporter. As he began to answer the two reporters, everyone else's questions suddenly turned to shouts of loud squawking gibberish as they all began shouting at him at once. Now more annoyed than he was before he stepped out of the building, he waved everyone off and hopped into his car as well, then sped off. At the station house, a short while later, Kesha Moore was going through a mugshot program in the station's computer database, as if she wasn't a police officer, but solely a victim of a crime. "Moore, look at those photos good. You're the only one who's seen this creep," Diaz told her. "If his face is in there, I want to know so I can go get him. I'm looking but I don't see anyone fitting his description. I'll never forget his face." "Well, keep looking. And if he's not in there, I'll try to get into that FBI database. You want some coffee?" "No, I'm fine. Look, are we still running his prints we lifted? 24 hours a day, and being that the feds are on the case now, they'll probably be running it as well." "Why?" "I don't know. We might not have anything on him over here because I don't think he's from this country. I heard him speak, he sounded foreign. Spanish or something." "Oh. That's nice to know, a Latino cannibal." "No, that's not what I meant. He sounded like a Spaniard, like he was from Spain somewhere. His accent was strong, he might be wanted over there. Maybe they have something on him." The chief stepped in the room, quieting them, wondering why Moore was going through the mugshots. He shot her a measuring look, then asked, "Hey, why are you going through those? What's going on?" Diaz looked away and Kesha puckered her lips and pushed the hair from her ear. "I'm just checking on something," she lied casually. "Well, check on it out in the streets because I want you two back on this case," Chief Riley lipped. "But the feds," went Kesha. "More Diaz, the hell with the feds. This is my precinct. Just don't get in their way. Besides, they have their hands full trying to track down those two women running around hacking everyone to bits with swords. And they still haven't caught those animals down in the subways. Do what you have to do, I want you to nail the son of a bitch. A Detective Giles and a Detective Martinez will be stopping by later from the 19th precinct. I know Martinez. They're robbery, but they want to check for similarities with the animal attacks in the subways. For some reason, the mayor thinks that these attacks are the same people, despite the fact that Vigo leaves his fingerprints behind. Crane Enterprise is out there snooping around too, so stay clear of them. Catch Vigo and let them deal with those time travelers and those animals. Oh, and another thing. Stop giving Dr. Moore shit, she's the chief medical examiner and the best. And my friend. She wants anything, give it to her. Got it? Yes, got it, said Kesha. Hey boss, Harold nodded. When the chief left the room, Harold said, I think he's doing Dr. Moore. Aw, come on, Harold. No. I'm willing to bet a box of Dunkins that the old man's doing the medical examiner. You ever checked to see if you two were related, Kesha? You're crazy. And no, we're not related. I've checked. Yeah, well, whatever. Let's wait for this Giles and Martinez, see what we can do for them, then get out of here. I'm tired. Harold rubbed his eyes, and for a second, Kesha could see the face of a 20-year younger man, as he stretched the wrinkles away around his cheeks and eyes as he rubbed them. I'll be back, he said, heading off to get some coffee. Well, bring me some too, since we'll be here a while, Kesha told him. The girl looked down at her watch, but all she could see was doubled, blurred numbers, for she was drunk, way beyond the meaning of intoxication. She'd left a club on the Lower East Side of Manhattan and was walking, rather stumbling along West Street by herself, near Christopher Street, trying to hail a cab. It was 4:08 a.m. and the nearest cab was 3 blocks away, but she would never see it. As she walked past a building on the dead block, she paused when she felt an evil cold breeze blow in her face from a darkened alley there. She stood petrified, unable to move as she smelled the foul stench of blood and musk. Had she kept on walking, she might have lived to see the light of the next day, but instead her curiosity led her to see for herself what could possibly produce such a repugnant odor. She was a small woman, white in her mid-20s, long pretty blonde hair and nosy. She felt her way down the dark alley until she'd reached the end, then heard a snap, looked up, gasped, then urinated on herself. And in a flash, it was over for her. Kesha had awakened, screaming and holding her chest. The dream was so real this time. What she thought she had seen in the dream, if she was not mistaken, would have been impossible. But somehow she knew that she should call Harold and get over to the alley she recognized in her sleep. Harold's phone rang 5 times before he decided to pick up. It was Kesha on the other end, shouting hysterically, barely able to talk. Just calm down more. Now what's going on? It's 4:30 in the morning. Two more girls we've been killed in the city, she managed over the phone. What do you mean, where are you? I'm home, I had another dream. A dream? You call me at 4:30 in the morning because you had another nightmare? Harold shrieked, annoyingly. Did you hear a fucking thing I told you yesterday? I said I can see things he's doing to people, you asshole. Hey. Tell me where this place is that you saw in your dream and I'll get a couple cars over there. No. You get dressed and I'll pick you up and we'll go ourselves, Kesha insisted. Fine, come and get me, he unenthusiastically muttered. Harold lived on Vanderbilt Avenue in Prospect Place, downtown Brooklyn, just minutes from the Brooklyn Bridge, and Kesha lived clear across town in Brownsville. She was at his house in 10 minutes, honking her horn out front, waking his neighbors. Shit. I'm coming, Harold pleaded. He ran out, hopped in the car, and before he could get his seatbelt on, she'd sped off. You want to tell me what this is about more? You'll see when we get there. I'm seeing things I shouldn't. I see him killing, feeding. He's never going to stop, Harold, unless we stop him. He's never going to get caught unless we catch him. A blue and white flashed her on the bridge for speeding, but she flashed him back, letting him know she was a police officer, sending him on his way. The traffic was clear at that hour, so she raced through Lower Manhattan to the scene with ease, then stopped near the alley from her dream. In there, she said excitedly, pointing down into the dark alley. The street was barely lit, and Harold wondered why anyone sane would walk down such an eerie street anyway. Shit, Kesha, couldn't you've dreamt up a better place like Disneyland or something? I'd felt a lot better arresting Marvin the Martian at Space Mountain than this. Harold shot Kesha a half smirk. Grab the shotgun and Federations. He's not going to be in there, she said assuredly. Oh yeah, Miss Cleo? What, you predicted that too? Grab it anyway. Slowly they crept into the alley, the sun creeping up just beyond the taller buildings. Though Kesha was sure that Vigo would not be there, that he'd accomplished what he came to do and left, she still clutched the shotgun tightly, just hoping that he was, so she could see if he was resistant to the Federation slugs as he was her 9mm. Oh my God. Harold uttered, crossing himself. How do you know this more? Even though he'd only been working with her for a few months, he didn't suspect her of committing that crime. It was too horrible for her. She was indeed seeing things. But how, he wondered. The two bodies were a bloody mess, hardly recognizable. Flies had already claimed them, battling it out with the few rats that had happened along. And to the right of them, on a brick wall of a neighboring building, lay Vigo's name written sprawled out in blood. You think I did this, don't you? Kesha backed up and asked him. Harold looked her in her eyes, saw fear in them. No, I do not. Kesha blasted. Then I told you then, didn't I? But you didn't want to listen. I can see this either before, during, or after it's happening. Something came to Harold at that moment. Hey, he said, shaking a finger, staring absently at nothing. If this is true, we might be able to catch this fucker. Come on, we have to call this in. You said you started having these visions, dreams after he bit you, right? Yes. Then I think we should see a priest. We might be dealing with something supernatural. You know what? Harold realized. Maybe we should call this in anonymously. The feds will have our asses in a ringer if they found out we were here. Besides, how are we going to explain how we found this out? We can't tell them you just had a bad dream. I'm not arguing with you. But whatever we do, we better do it fast. The sun's almost up. One of the victims was hollowed out from her neck down to her pelvic area, appearing to have been torn open. The other just had her throat ripped out. She appeared to have bled to death, choked on her own blood. Before leaving, Harold stopped at a phone booth at the corner and phoned his station, told them of the murders in the alley, and before they could ask him who was reporting the crime, he'd hung up. On their way back to Brooklyn, he noticed something odd about Kesha. He looked closer at his suspicions, then asked her to pull over. Kesha, you're on the bridge. What is it? What's the matter? I know you are a bit hairy, but I've never noticed this, he said, guiding her hand to the back and side of her neck. Kesha pulled on the long, coarse hairs and almost freaked. The hairs were over an inch long, curly, feeling more like animal hair than human. Are you sure Vigo bit you and not something else? Why don't you just check me into a mental institution and tell them that I'm going crazy? Of course Vigo bit me. That's what I said, right? Yes, you. He attacked me in front of my house, man. Hey, more. Maybe Vigo's something else. Maybe he's not a man at all. What are you getting at? I don't know. This man has killed 9 people in under a month and never left the city, never been spotted by anyone except you, and none of us can catch him. So what are you saying, he's a fucking ghost? Well, what else could he be? Well, from what I know or think. I know of ghosts, they can't kill you, only scare the crap out of you. Well, whatever he is, he certainly has to be stopped. You seen his acts, and wait a minute. If you can see him when he's doing all these killings, maybe you can see him when he's resting or jerking off or something. I mean, you say you wake up when he does something horrible, maybe if you concentrate you can catch him doing something else. If you try, what if you can see him sleeping somewhere, wake up and try to remember. Harold was cut short by the honking of an upset driver, reminding them that they were still on the bridge holding up traffic. You might be right, you know. Let's get rolling. He's definitely not killing people 24 hours a day, so it's possible that I might be able to see him sleeping. Kesha paused for a second to see if Harold was just yanking her chain. She said with a frown, "You're not shitting me, are you? You do believe me, right?" "More than ever, partner. I have an idea. Do you think you can, if you tried, distinguish something familiar like an address or something?" "I don't know, I can try." "Why?" "Kesha, if you can catch this fucker sleeping and wake up with an address, we'd creep right up him and take him down." "You think that'll work?" "I told you how he ate my 9mm. What do we have to lose? Let's go to my place. It's daytime, so he's probably resting somewhere. You'll sleep at my house, and when you wake up try to remember everything you can." "That sounds like a plan." Kesha frowned, not really sure it would work. "Good. Then I'll watch you sleep," Harold said sleazily but playing. "I'll bet you'd enjoy that, won't you?" She smiled. "Are you kidding me? My wife will kick my ass and throw something very hot on me. I hope you're tired."